Wait, my mom and the others. They're not here yet. I kept my eyes on the table as I asked the staff. The section reserved for family at our wedding reception remained completely empty. The staff member quickly touched her earpiece and said, "I'll check." She radioed someone immediately. A few seconds later, she nodded slightly and turned to me. "It seems they haven't arrived at the reception yet." She gave a small, apologetic bow before quietly walking away. "You've got to be kidding me." A tight pain clenched in my chest. Today is my wedding day with Jonathan. The most important day of my life. After Jonathan and I got engaged, I spent the whole year preparing while juggling my demanding job. Choosing the dress, visiting venues, designing the invitations, everything was new and overwhelming. Still, my mother said, "I can't wait to see what kind of wedding it'll be." And my brother added, "It'll be the kids' first wedding too. I hope it's something they'll always remember." Their words kept me going. Even on those endless nights in the ICU, I wrote personal messages on each invitation, hoping to make them feel special. I even picked my mother's favorite flower for the table centerpieces. I truly believed everyone in my family was looking forward to it. I believed it with all my heart. And yet, they're not coming? I gripped my phone and started calling. My mother. My brother. No one answered. It felt deliberate, like they were all purposely ignoring our wedding. The joyful sounds of laughter and celebration behind me felt like they belonged to a different world. That's when Jonathan rushed over. "Heather, are you okay?" I pressed my phone against his chest. "My mom and brother, they're not here. Look at the family table." As soon as Jonathan looked over, his expression changed. "Do you think something happened? Any messages?" I shook my head. "Nothing. I've been calling nonstop, but no one's picking up." Back in the dressing room, I sat down slowly and tried to calm myself. Maybe something came up. Worried something might have happened to them. I checked my phone again. Calls, texts, emails, nothing. No messages. No read receipts. Why? They were so excited. Jonathan sat down beside me and gently placed a hand on my back. "Maybe your mom had some kind of travel trouble, flight delays or something. Even if that's true, they would have contacted me." Still gripping my phone, I thought aloud. "I'm going to check Facebook." Facebook? I just have a bad feeling. Mom always posts something, even in times like this. Nervously, I opened the app. The most recent post hit me like a punch. A picture of a bright blue ocean and white sandy beach. My mother was smiling behind oversized sunglasses. My brother's kids splashing in the water with inflatable rings. My brother and his wife laughing under a palm tree, cocktails in hand. Family trip to Hawaii. Best time ever. #family love, healing vacation. My heart froze with an audible crack. This was posted today, right? I showed the screen to Jonathan. He went silent, then muttered bitterly. "What the hell? They're in Hawaii? Family trip. On our wedding day?" My emotions were so tangled, I couldn't even cry. "Jonathan, give me a moment." I stood up and walked out of the room. This had to be a mistake. It had to be. Then, a message came through. It was from my mother. It's just a minor thing. Stop calling me. I nearly stopped breathing. Jonathan quietly stepped behind me. Did you hear from them? I showed him the screen. He stood frozen for a long moment, speechless. She called it a minor thing. Our wedding, I said quietly. I didn't even have the strength to raise my voice. I spent a whole year preparing. She kept saying how excited she was. What kind of dress are you wearing? She asked. My brother said his kids were so excited to be ring bearers. My shoulders trembled. I always believed. I tried so hard to fit in with my family. I did everything I could. But maybe it was all just pretend. That's not true. At least I know how hard you tried. His words were almost enough to save me. But the thorn stuck deep in my heart wouldn't come out. Tell me, what did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. Then why? Why would they do this to me? Did I make some kind of mistake? Jonathan suddenly took hold of both my shoulders. Heather, listen to me. You didn't do anything wrong. Your mom and brother, they're the ones who are wrong. This isn't about being forgetful or flaky. They deliberately chose to ignore you. I know that. But it still hurts. Finally, I cried. Quietly, but uncontrollably. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ruin our special day. Don't apologize. You're not the one who should be sorry. From now on, let's build a life surrounded by people who truly value you. Me, my parents, we want you as part of our real family. You don't have to keep pushing yourself for theirs. I gave a small nod. You're right. I won't expect anything from them anymore. Anyone who can do something like this isn't my family anymore. And just like that, I felt the ice inside my chest begin to crack and melt. The week after the wedding, I finally made a decision about the mortgage payments I'd been covering for the past 2 years. I'm done. I repeated that thought over and over until one morning, after a night shift, I walked straight to the bank. I was exhausted, physically and emotionally, but underneath it all was a strange kind of relief, like I was reclaiming something that had always been mine. While finalizing the paperwork, I kept checking the notes in my wallet, meticulous records of every payment I had made. After my father passed away, I took over the mortgage because my mother couldn't handle it alone. To be honest, I couldn't really afford it either. The grueling ICU shifts, the endless nights, I'd even fallen ill a few times from the stress. But I never said a word. I didn't want to burden her. And still, she skipped my wedding to go on a family trip to Hawaii with my brother. And dismissed that betrayal with a single message, it's just a minor thing. I closed the account and received the final statement. This is the end. I told myself that as I walked out of the bank. About a month later, one evening, I saw a familiar name pop up on my phone screen. My mother. For a moment, I hesitated. But I was done running. I took a deep breath and answered. Hello, Heather? Her voice came through, irritated. Hey, what's going on with the mortgage? I got a notice that this month's payment didn't go through. I paused, then answered quietly. That's because I closed the account. What? What are you talking about? I mean the mortgage account. The one I've been paying. I stopped. A long silence followed. Then her voice rose, sharp and accusatory. Wait a second. You can't just do that out of nowhere. Don't you realize we've built our entire household budget around that? I see. But you told me not to call you over minor things, right? What did you say? That's not a minor thing. That's exactly why I'm calling. When you didn't come to my wedding, you said, it's just a minor thing. Stop calling me. Don't you remember that? I kept my voice steady, but I spoke clearly and firmly. So now I'm giving you the same treatment. Don't call me over something as small as a missed payment. To me, it's just a minor thing. What's that supposed to mean? When you dismissed my wedding as a trivial thing, I realized something. My life's biggest milestone didn't matter to you at all. She didn't respond. In that silence, I continued speaking. You didn't just skip my wedding. You went on a vacation with my brother's family, posted photos about how amazing it was, called it the perfect family trip. And I wasn't part of that family. You left me out. You threw me away. So now, I'm done supporting you. Because I'm not part of your family anymore. I heard the faint hitch in her breathing. I continued. I spent an entire year preparing for that wedding. You said you were looking forward to it, didn't you? You told me over and over, I can't wait to see you in your wedding dress. But the reality was different. Do you have any idea what it feels like to be betrayed by your own family on the most important day of your life? That was just a coincidence. The trip had been planned for a long time, and it was the only time Steve was free. Then why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you even send a message? All I got was, it's just a minor thing. Stop calling. That was your response. As she started to speak again, I cut in, slowly and clearly. So I made my decision too. If I'm just a minor part of your life, then I'm done being your daughter. I won't pay the mortgage anymore. From now on, I'll spend my time and money on me. I used to endure it all just because we were family. But I finally realized I don't have to let someone trample my life just because we share blood. There was a long silence before my mother's voice came through again, softer now. I see. Okay, I'll ask Steve if he can take over the payments. You should. Then I'll hang up. Goodbye. As soon as the call ended, I quietly placed my phone on the table. Some ties have to be cut before they cut me first. And today, I had finally severed it myself. Since then, I'd been enjoying a quiet newlywed with Jonathan. The pain hadn't fully disappeared, but at least now, every day spent with someone I could trust felt gentler, more peaceful than I'd imagined. 2 weeks later, Jonathan went on a business trip for a week, and I found myself enjoying some rare time alone. I treated myself to relaxing spa days and pampering sessions, and visited several cafes I had always wanted to try. I never realized how luxurious and healing it could be to spend quiet time alone. I even signed up for a cooking class I'd been curious about for a while, and learned a few new recipes. When Jonathan got back, I planned to surprise him with his favorite wine and one of those new dishes. Those thoughts filled my days with quiet joy. The day before Jonathan was due home, I came back from a night shift and collapsed onto the sofa. Soft sunlight filtered through the curtains, and I drifted off to sleep. Ding dong. The sound of the doorbell snapped me awake. I checked the intercom and there she was. My mother. Why? Confused, I pressed the intercom button. When I opened the door, she stood there looking gaunt and worn out. She was nothing like the dignified woman people used to call the perfect teacher. Her eyes were tired. She gave a faint bow. "Can we talk for a moment?" I nodded silently and led her to the small guest space by the entrance. As soon as she sat down, she said, "I'm sorry, Heather. Not coming to your wedding. It was a terrible mistake." "I don't have any excuses. I don't know what I was thinking." I stayed silent, letting her speak, not interrupting, not reacting. "I asked Steve to take over the mortgage, but he said it's not possible. With the kids' tuition and his job not going well, he just can't." I frowned. "So?" I spoke slowly and evenly. "You came here because Steve said no, didn't you?" She looked down and gave a small nod. "Please, I'm begging you. I don't have any other way. I'll apologize 100 times if that's what it takes. Just once more, please help me." As I listened, I felt a dull ache deep inside me. For 2 years, I had silently made the payments. She took it all for granted, never once acknowledging what it cost me. And now, even as she apologized in person, what I felt wasn't the desire to forgive. "Mom, I'm not someone who just shows up when it's convenient for you. I'm not your ATM. I paid that mortgage for 2 years without a word. But what were you doing during that time? Did you ever even once say thank you?" She stared down at her hands, clasped tightly in her lap. "I know. I was wrong, but—" "No. The moment you say but, your apology becomes meaningless. That's how it's always been with you. There's always a but, and somehow it becomes my fault. Not this time. I made up my mind that day. I won't give anything more to people who don't value me. Please don't say that. Just this once. Even just this month." I shook my head slowly. "I'm sorry. I can't go back. The image of that empty table on my wedding day, it'll never leave me. And when you brushed it off as a minor thing, something inside me broke beyond repair. Then, what am I supposed to do now? That's for you to figure out. As for me, I'm finally getting my life back. From now on, my time, my money, my emotions, they're all mine to use. You don't have to be so cold." "I'm not being cold. I'm setting boundaries. What I did for you all those years wasn't normal, it was excessive. This, right now? This is what normal looks like." My mother stood up. She staggered slightly and caught herself on the wall. "Fine. I won't ask again. But are you really okay with this?" I met her eyes and nodded clearly. "Yes, I am." She turned at the door and glanced back at me one last time. There was regret in her eyes. But whether I accepted it or not, that wasn't my responsibility anymore. When I shut the door, a quiet resolution settled inside me. I wasn't going back. The next day, Jonathan came home from his business trip. That evening, sitting across the table with him again, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: peace. As I served the creamy chicken stew I'd learned in class, I told him everything that had happened the day before. My mom apologized, but in the end she came to ask me to resume the mortgage payments. I glanced at his face as I lifted my fork. "And you told her no?" "Yeah. I just couldn't keep sacrificing myself anymore. But part of me still wondered, was I too harsh? Too cold? Jonathan gave me a gentle smile and reached for my hand. Heather, that wasn't cold. That was self-preservation. If you had kept going like that, you would have broken. You made the right choice. His words lifted a weight from my chest. The lingering guilt began to dissolve in the warmth of his voice. Thank you, hearing that really helps. He smiled and said softly, I'll always be on your side. Several days passed after that final conversation with my mother. I thought I had finally put the past behind me. But deep down, a small knot of unease remained. I didn't know why, just a quiet sense that something else was coming. And then, one Wednesday afternoon, my phone rang. Heather? What the hell is going on? It was my aunt's voice, bursting with rage through the speaker. Shocked and confused, I stammered. Aunt? What's wrong? Don't play dumb. Your mother showed up at my house in tears, saying you abandoned her, saying you're kicking her out and cutting her off. That the mortgage stopped out of nowhere, and now she can't afford to live. How could you be so heartless? I let out a sigh. Auntie, whatever Mom told you, it's probably really twisted. Twisted? But didn't you suddenly stop paying the mortgage? Who does that to their own parent? Instead of repaying her, you abandoned her. Wait, did she tell you about the wedding? On the day of my wedding, Mom was in Hawaii. She completely ignored the most important day of my life and later called it a minor thing. She didn't even show up. What? I knew she went to Hawaii, but on your wedding day? That can't be true. She told me she was so excited for your wedding. Exactly. She hid the inconvenient parts and made herself look like the victim. I paid the mortgage every month for 2 years. Not once did she say thank you, and on my wedding day, not only did she skip the ceremony, she posted on social media, bragging about how amazing her family trip was. Silence filled the other end of the line. I have proof too. Screenshots of her posts. The message where she said it's just a minor thing. I saved everything. But what? My voice trembled not with anger, but frustration. Because thanks to my mother's lies, I was being painted as an ungrateful daughter. I didn't abandon my family. My family abandoned me. My aunt didn't speak for a moment. Finally, she said, "You should talk things out again." Then she hung up. After that, more calls came. Uncles, cousins, distant relatives on my father's side. All asking the same question, why would you do such a thing? Some even said, only a cold-hearted person would abandon their mother. Each time, it felt like a heavy stone being hurled into my chest. As if I alone were the villain, the one who hurt my mother. The words I wanted to say reached the back of my throat, but I was too drained to explain anymore. No matter how carefully I told the story, it never seemed to outweigh my mother's tears and self-pitying lies. I could feel my energy slowly wearing away. I don't know if I can do this anymore, I whispered one night. That evening, I told Jonathan everything. The calls from my relatives, the lies my mother was spreading, and how deeply each accusation hurt. Jonathan held my hand and looked at me seriously. Heather, this isn't something you should carry alone. Let's talk to a lawyer. It's your right to be protected. And it's my job to help you make sure you are. His words finally gave me permission to breathe. I'd been raised to believe that airing family problems to outsiders was wrong. But what mattered more now was protecting my peace and dignity. So I quietly began organizing my evidence. Screenshots of Facebook posts. Bank records of the mortgage payments. My mother's message, "It's just a minor thing." And even the voice recording of our last conversation. I compiled them all into a single file. That weekend, Jonathan and I visited a law office. A young female attorney welcomed us and listened carefully to everything I shared. She nodded throughout. Given the emotional harassment and slander from extended family and the ongoing pressure, you do have a solid case for a restraining order. You have more than enough evidence. You can rest easy now? I felt something in my chest begin to loosen. You mean I'm allowed to do this? Not only are you allowed, you should. You have every right to live in peace. It doesn't matter who it is, not even your own mother. No one has the right to hurt you. Tears welled up in my eyes. I had tried so hard to be a good daughter. That's why I didn't fight back. I kept forgiving. But not anymore. Now I had to protect my life. A few days later, the restraining order was officially granted. My mother was prohibited from contacting me, visiting me, or pressuring me through third parties. No more phone calls. No surprise visits. Everything cut off. It was a painful decision. But it was also the first real freedom I'd felt in years. When I told Jonathan, he gently pulled me into his arms. You did the right thing. Those words made me feel like I could finally breathe again. I wouldn't let anyone make me feel invisible again. I had broken free from the chains of family. The week after the restraining order was enforced, my phone finally went quiet. The barrage of accusations from relatives and nonstop notifications vanished as if they had never happened. The tightly wound string inside me slowly began to unwind. That day, I felt something shift. For the first time, I thought, I never want to be hurt like that again. So I acted. It was the first time I'd ever drawn a line with someone I once called family. I had been terrified at first, afraid of being seen as a cold daughter or accused of being ungrateful. But now, I'm proud of the choice I made, proud to have protected myself. From now on, I can live for me. That thought began to change my everyday life in small but meaningful ways. Then one day, I received a message from Jonathan's mother, Kathy. To be honest, I was a little surprised. From the beginning of our marriage, Kathy never overstepped. She respected my boundaries, always giving me space. But even so, she consistently showed me that she cared. She would send me care packages with handwritten notes like "Don't push yourself too hard," or message me to say, "If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out." Her kindness was never overwhelming or performative. It was gentle. And because it wasn't forced, it touched me even more. After the wedding incident, not only Kathy, but Jonathan's entire family began to treat me like I was truly one of their own. Surrounded by that warmth, my heart slowly began to open again. We're having a little dinner party at the house next week. We'd love for you both to come, if you're free. Her voice was calm and inviting, never formal or pushy. Thank you. We'd love to. I answered without hesitation. I truly wanted to go. It wasn't out of politeness or obligation, it felt like returning to a warm and welcoming place. That weekend, Jonathan and I visited his parents' home. Kathy and the others greeted us warmly, and the entire house radiated a comforting, peaceful atmosphere. As Kathy brought out the food, she looked at me and said, "Heather, I never got the chance to say this before, but you looked absolutely beautiful on your wedding day. I saw the pictures, your dress suited you perfectly." I smiled, a little shy. "Thank you. To be honest, I was incredibly nervous that day." "Well, you didn't show it at all. You stood there so confidently. I can see exactly why Jonathan chose you." Unexpectedly, something warm bloomed deep in my chest. My own mother had never said anything like that to me. No matter how much I did, how much I gave, it was never acknowledged, it was simply expected. But now, for the first time, I felt what it meant to be genuinely appreciated. Then, one day, my aunt called. "Heather, I owe you an apology," she said. "I completely misunderstood everything about you." I was stunned into silence. "Jonathan called me. He explained everything, how much you sacrificed, how much that wedding meant to you, and even the mortgage payments. He explained it all, clearly and kindly. I'm truly sorry for the things I said." A wave of surprise and quiet warmth flooded through me. That night, I turned to Jonathan. "My aunt called today. She said you spoke with her, told her everything." Jonathan gave a small, sheepish smile and gently held my hand. "Yeah, I just couldn't stay silent anymore. You gave so much, and they turned on you. It made me angry. I couldn't say a word." A quiet, powerful warmth rose from somewhere deep inside me, and before I knew it, tears rolled down my cheeks. Jonathan, as always, pulled me into a gentle embrace and wiped them away. A few days later, another relative reached out. "To be honest, I don't think I can trust your mother anymore." The way she twisted the story, I never thought she was capable of that. His tone wasn't sympathetic, it was cold, detached. Now, my mother and brother were completely isolated from the rest of the extended family. But that wasn't my concern anymore. All I'll do now is quietly continue walking my own path,